You all know that song, Eruption by Van Halen, and people typically think that tapping, that technique that's being used in that segment of music, is primarily for the electric guitar. But as you'll see today, we can do it on basically any kind of guitar, the T5, you can do it on a regular acoustic guitar as well. And what I like to liken the technique to is kind of a painter having a bunch of different paints, and this is just another color that you have to add to your playing. Now the thing about tapping that you're going to find is that you can add a lot of expression, and it's not just that one-dimensional thing that was done all through the 80s, similar to everybody ripping off Van Halen on that riff. There's a lot more that can be done with it. So let me give you a few examples. But before we do that, I want to teach you the 3 primary tapping techniques you can use to develop the technique. These exercises will be great for you. And we're going to basically look at doing forward tapping, backwards tapping, and then backwards to forwards tapping. If you look at example 1 on the screen here, you're going to notice that we put our first finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and we're going to hammer onto our pinky on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Now where tapping comes into play is right here. We're going to use our middle finger on our right hand, and we're going to keep our pick in the ready position, meaning we keep holding the pick as though we were going to strike a string with it. We're going to rest our palm right around the 6th string on the body of the guitar at a little bit of an angle, and put our 2nd finger of our right hand on the 10th fret, which is the note we're going to be tapping. And if you think about tapping as basically just having another finger like on your left hand, only on your right hand, it's really nice because you can move that finger all over the fingerboard and play basically anywhere. What we're going to do is we're going to tap the 10th fret and look at it just like a hammer-on. It sounds like this: 5, hammer to 8, tap 10. Now notice that to get the initial tone, I used my tapping finger to pull off, kind of pull that string off the 2nd string on the 5th fret. If you notice in the slide as well, you'll see the repeat signs, and what you want to do is you want to continue that cycle over and over again. The reason I call it forward tapping is because we're going from a low note up to a higher note. One more time, it sounds like this: 5, hammer to 8, tap 10, pull back off to 5, hammer to 8, tap 10, etc. The other thing you might notice with the tapping is that right after your tapping finger goes down on your right hand, your pinky should come back up so it doesn't get in the way of the pull off to the 5th fret. So what it looks like is this. I'm exaggerating it. One more time. And then you can play this exercise basically, if you look at it like triplets, it'll be great. You'll just count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or triple it like this. Triple it. And you just kind of keep it going in that same direction. Now the opposite would be slide number 2, and that's where we're going to do backwards. It's the same fingering, same notes, everything. The only difference is we're going to start with a tap on the 10th fret, pull off to the 8th fret, pull off to the 5th fret, and then tap again and continue that cycle repetitiously. Sounds like this. And what's happening also here is the exact opposite from the forward one, is that when our tap finger goes down, our pinky needs to follow it real closely, right behind it. Make sure your pinky does not go down first though, because you'll hear that note first. And that's basically exercise number 3. So if you look at slide number 3, we're going to do backwards to forwards. And what backwards to forwards is exactly what it says. We're going to start by tapping the 10th fret, pulling off to 8, pulling off to 5, hammering back onto 8, and then tapping again. So we're going down and back up. Looks and sounds like this. These exercises are actually going to make your fingers sore on your right hand, but if you just do a little bit each day, you'll get a callus pretty quickly, and you'll get the basic feel of it down. I would recommend, however, that you concentrate on one of the exercises at a time until you get it pretty comfortable. Start with forward till it's pretty smooth and you can get all the notes equal in duration and intervals. And then same thing with the backwards, and then same with the backwards to forwards. Make them all smooth and clean. And once you get them all down, you'll have a pretty good callus on your finger, and you'll have a pretty good idea of how the tapping works.